Okay, movie reviews are back, which I'm just thrilled about, because today, not only do I get to talk about something close to my heart, a Batman movie, I get to talk about The Dark Knight, the greatest Batman movie ever. And that's no bullshit. This movie is like Aliens, Godfather 2, Empire Strikes Back. It's right at the top of that exclusive pantheon of film sequels that are not only worthy of their predecessors, but improve on them and exceed them. As awesome as Batman Begins was, and that was probably one of my favorite movies of the last 10 years, The Dark Knight tops it, and tops it big time. It's 2.5 hours, but it feels like it's 10 minutes. You just want it to go on and on forever. The returning cast are just as awesome as they were in the first movie. Maggie Gyllenhaal is so much better as Rachel than Katie Holmes ever was, but this movie really belongs to Heath Ledger and Aaron Eckhart. Everything you've heard about Heath Ledger in this movie is for real. When you hear people say that it's an Oscar-worthy performance, they're dead serious. Forget Cesar Romero, forget Jack Nicholson, even forget Mark Hamill. This is the definitive, most perfect version of the Joker ever captured in any medium outside of the comics. This is the kind of performance that'll give grown men nightmares. Heath Ledger created a character that's just so twisted, magnetic, terrifying, hilarious, all at the same time. He makes you scared, he makes you think, he makes you laugh, and then a second later, he makes you horrified that you laughed. And when you see the Joker in this movie, I'm telling you, you will finally understand, just like I finally understood, why Jack Nicholson's performance in the original Batman movie was just child's play. Heath Ledger's working on a whole other level here. If you put Nicholson's Joker and Heath Ledger's Joker in a room together and told them to fight, within like 2 minutes, Nicholson would be hanging from a noose made out of his own intestines. That's how big the difference is. In terms of memorable villainous performances in film, you could put this incarnation of a Joker in that same class as Anthony Hopkins' Hannibal Lecter. It really is that good. And that's not to say that Aaron Eckhart as Harvey Dent gets overshadowed here, because he rises to the occasion too. This is the best performance Aaron Eckhart has ever given, bar none. And the best thing I can say about him is that he's so good that as much as you can't wait to see Two-Face, as awesome as you know Two-Face is going to be, you don't want to see Harvey Dent become Two-Face. Because Eckhart manages to make Harvey Dent such a great guy and such an amazing character that you can't help but want things to turn out okay for him. I mean, you want him to stay a hero. You want him to be Gotham's White Knight, even though you know before the movie even starts that that's a million miles away from where he's headed. I mean, all through the movie, he gives you this awful, sick feeling in the pit of your stomach because you know that horrible moment is drawing closer and closer when some unspeakably bad shit is going to fall on this guy's shoulders. And when that transformation finally happens and Two-Face is revealed, it hits you like a kick in the balls. I mean, it's devastating. And they make you feel every single ounce of it. And half of that is due to Aaron Eckhart, and half of that is due to the script. This is a screenplay with ideas, drama, heart, character development, and emotional and psychological complexities that 90% of the other movies being made out there today can't even touch. And I don't mean just other comic book movies, I mean movies in general. When the Nolans and David Goyer set out to write the Dark Knight script, they were not content to live off what they accomplished with Batman Begins. They took that bar that they set and they raised it like 20 feet higher. They didn't just set out to make some god-awful live-action cartoon like the Fantastic Four movie, one of the biggest pieces of shit I've ever seen in my life. They set out to make a film worthy of the most prestigious awards a film can receive. And make no mistake about it, you guys, this movie is award-worthy. And I'm not talking about like the Saturn Awards or some shit like that. I say Oscar nominations for Best Screenplay, Best Direction, Best Cinematography, Best Supporting Actor for Heath Ledger, and maybe even Best Picture. And anyone who tells you it doesn't deserve any of those is a damn liar, okay? This is more than just a great comic book movie. This is one of the best films of any genre I've seen in years. It's an incredible achievement. You're going to want to see it over and over and over again. The Dark Knight is a fucking masterpiece. Okay, while I'm on the subject of Batman, there's something else that I want to talk about too. Remember a couple of years ago, back when everybody and their brother was waiting on pins and needles for The Matrix Reloaded to come out, and to whet our appetites, the studio produced that Animatrix DVD with a whole anthology of anime shorts by all those acclaimed Japanese directors telling stories about The Matrix. Remember how damn cool that thing was? And I mean, regardless of how you felt about the Matrix sequels themselves, you can't say that the Animatrix DVD wasn't awesome. Well, I'm here to tell you guys that this thing right here is every bit as good as that was. Batman Gotham Knight. I highly, highly recommend the 2-disc set. On the first disc, you get over an hour of material with 6 interlocking stories, each one with its own tone, its own style. The writers include David Goyer and comic book heavyweights like Brian Azzarello, Alan Burnett, Greg Rucka. The animation quality, absolutely top of the line. They spared no expense with this thing. You get to see some great action, great suspense. They examine Batman's past when Bruce Wayne was traveling the world and preparing himself for what would come later on. They dip into the Rogues Gallery and they use some really scary and cool versions of Deadshot and Killer Croc and one of my personal favorites, the Scarecrow. And the Deadshot story is just jaw-dropping. I mean, it really, really epic in scope. The Scarecrow Killer Croc story is like something out of a horror movie. It'll give you goosebumps. And on the second disc, you get a documentary about the history of Batman and his creator, Bob Kane. You get a featurette on Batman's whole Rogues Gallery, which is awesome. Plus, you get 4 classic episodes of Batman the Animated Series. I Am the Knight, Over the Edge, Legends of the Dark Knight, and probably the best episode of the whole series, Heart of Ice. Now, the whole thing was produced by Bruce Timm, the guy who gave us this right here. So that tells you right there that it's going to be awesome. And something I got a huge kick out of was that they brought back Kevin Conroy to do the voice of Batman. So this is a terrific companion piece for The Dark Knight. You don't need to see it to understand the movie, but it really adds to your enjoyment of the movie if you do. So it's a great DVD to have in your collection. If you're salivating in anticipation for the movie as much as I was, then it's great. It's great to tide you over. But if you're a fan of Batman the Animated Series, this is an absolute must-have.